Oh my God, I can't take it anymore.
And it was absolutely exhausting.
I have bad days.
Of the ability to find joy in the really simple, mundane things.
I have a fulfilling life.
So in doing that, allows you to process and heal. I feel so lucky to be the age that I am and to still be here.
We're fucked. We haven't done an episode for a while now, and personally, I've been having a hard time. And it's weird too. Like I promote being happy, but at the same time, it's exhausting being happy all the time. A lot of shit happens, and putting the mask of I'm good, it's that is actually one of the like red flags about depression.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking about Robin Williams, Like he was such a happy guy and he ended up committing suicide. So
Yeah, yeah, he's always such an extreme. I feel like somebody else is coming to mind, and I'm just, oh, you know what? Actually, it is. I was thinking about this morning, this meditation teacher, and I can't, his name escapes me right now. He was based in BC, off the coast, but he was a really well-known Buddhist meditation teacher who hadn't actually revealed to, I don't think, at least publicly, maybe in private, he had revealed to some of his students that he had, I believe it was bipolar, and
yeah.
he died. He had taken a boat over to Vancouver. He lived on one of the islands, Gulf Islands, off of Vancouver, and he was looking for medication. And he was a married man with young kids, a third on the way, and he ended up getting something with fentanyl and passed away. And I remember it brought up this, it just sparked a lot of conversation about how, in sort of these spiritual communities, new age communities, wellness communities, what are we actually not sharing with each other? And where are we sort of expecting that? I saw this a lot when I was in like the ayahuasca world, just a lot of thinking that there was like a magic cure or a magic pill for being human, and
Yeah.
just not like acknowledging that there's like ups and downs and lows and highs, and that it's all there and there's no magic pill.
That reminds me, yesterday I commented on it in a post on Facebook that this woman was asking about antidepressants, and I told her like I still take the bare minimum before I gone off them of antidepressants like for 20 years or so because of my anxiety, but that doesn't make me happy. It just numbs me, and I need
Mm.
it to function, and then the side effects makes me keep taking it because I can't go off the medication. Like, yeah, it has
Yeah.
a period, but so many of us like wants the magic pill, and that's not how being alive works. It's a process, it's a roller coaster of emotions, and like for me, it's been raining for like 10 days. There was just one sunny day, and the
Mhm.
humidity was still 100%. So my house is a mess because we have like the dirty clothes and nothing, everything is like sticky wet,
Yeah.
and on top of that, like I was dragging a lot of things internally, and that was the ice of the cake, and I exploded. Like I had a meltdown on Sunday. I could start crying.
Yeah.
And I want to be honest about it. I don't want to present this facade that I am always happy and joyful and smiling, because I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah, I so appreciate that. I remember back to when I was like kind of obsessed with getting happy, like that there was like an end goal when everything would be okay, trying the many different things to get me there. And it was absolutely exhausting. And it was, I don't know, I felt like I was in this constant process of like gaslighting myself just because I was so um desperate to get to that. And I mean, the truth is that like, so many of these sort of spiritual traditions that I've explored, it's not about getting to a blissed out state. It's about, being able to hold the ups and the downs with kindness and compassion and um yeah, and just tenderness towards ourselves, I think, and not getting too attached to the story. Well, like now I notice like the emotions come and go, but there's, I guess the story doesn't have as much. And it's not that it's not still there, but it just doesn't have quite as much power. And as long as I can just sort of be like, okay, it's a great day. Um, it's just been, for me, it's been a bit easier. I don't know if that holds true for you as well.
Yeah, I've been changing the story about myself, the story I have in my head, but sometimes it resurfaces. So it's like,
Yeah,
okay, I have to feel this story again. And that's what been happening with me the last month or so. And it peaked this past weekend.
yeah,
It's about like the childlessness, the being single, the lack of money, the political climate. It's like, oh my God, I can't take it anymore. And yeah, I revisited my story and reframe it again and remind me, okay, you you need to cry. You need to curl up in a ball in your bed and cry. Do that. But like understanding, like you said, emotions also pass, and I needed
yeah,
to feel that.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's but it there is this narrative about grinding the life and not not just for childless, but for everyone. Like get a new car, get the new instead of feel what you're feeling and what that is telling you. What because there is a message. I started like changing some beliefs that I know are limiting me, and then my old story resurfaced. Like, oh,
yeah,
and I felt that I talked to a friend, and then she didn't try to give me a an advice. She just heard me. She just told me, "I see you," and that like allowed me to cry.
yeah,
And yesterday it was morning, and okay, it's a new week, and I've come so far. Yesterday I couldn't see it. Today I can, and I think, like I said, it's a process, and for me, it's kind of a spiral. Where
yeah.
I encounter the same point again, but lesson.
Yeah, I totally relate to that. Yeah, I love hearing about how your friend showed up for you. And one thing I notice when I get in like down periods in particular about, being single and childless, I'm always sort of I feel like one of the things that comes up for me is that there's sort of this sort of, I don't know, like unconscious bias, or there's some narrative in the larger world that if you're single and childless and you can't, and I know we've talked about this, like can't have a fulfilling, thriving life. And it's
Yeah,
like, and then a fulfilling, thriving life means that you're like, filled with joy and radiance of every moment of every day, right? And
yeah,
it's like you almost can't win. Um, and yet there's a middle road, right? Like there's a middle road where it's like, yeah, I do feel fulfilled and I do feel a lot of joy in my life, and I have bad days
yeah,
and stories creep up again. And
yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah,
all there. It's all part of it.
yeah. Like I don't. No, I'm not talking about the childless world because the childless world is so encapsulated in the grief that grief usually comes up in the conversation.
Mhm.
But in the world in general, there's this idea of like the people that are happy are always grandiose and traveling in yachts and I don't know if I would really be happy there. I would feel kind
Mhm.
of isolated and because it sounds super nice for a while, not living like that
Yeah.
every day. I'd rather have these bad days where I can look back and reflect, oh my God, a year ago I was nowhere near where I am today.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I like that. I like the simple things, the slowing down.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just, it reminded me too of, I was listening to something, I don't know, something came up about, wealth or something like that. It was like maybe a conversation on how like just the disparity between the wealth and the rest of the world is growing. But people who have wealth also say that they have a really hard time trusting people and knowing like who really wants to
Yeah.
be their friends. Yeah, I don't know. I'm like you. I've always kind of appreciated the simple things and the simple life. And um, I do love a good trip when it's available, but it's certainly not it comes and goes. It's certainly not the thing that brings everlasting sort of contentment, to use my word.
I was thinking about a lot of series and movies that showcase that kind of the husband is the one that is super rich and the spouse, the wife, is like laying on the pool and eventually she gets bored and she gets unfulfilled and it doesn't matter if they have 10 kids together. She's kind of a prop. She's another
Yeah.
furniture. And that's what I think I would feel if I have this super wealth life.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of times we don't realize how doing small things in our house, like doing the dishes, makes us feel fulfilled because it is so mundane and so regular that we don't think about that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's so true. I was talking about this with a friend this weekend because we were talking about how like she's got two kids and she was just saying like at their age, if they're 14. But we were talking about how, like back in the day, like I'm pulling the, back when I was a kid and you'd walk like 20 miles and up 5 mountains to get to school. But it was, we were just talking about how you from a really young age had a purpose and that you often had to like work the farm or, do those kinds of things. Like there was something to do and just how there's something about having a purpose every day, like things that need to get done. Sure, it can be exhausting and draining and overwhelming, but there's also something to the whole phrase. I don't know if you've heard the phrase chop wood, carry water. Like
No.
there's something about, yeah, like just doing the things that need to get done in order for you to live. And it's like sort of like, we're talking about like just the idea of like purpose and, so often purpose is, presented in at least North American culture as this big thing that you go and do to try to, save or change the world. Like there's something usually big about it. But, there's different ways of looking at purpose and one is just the purpose that comes from chopping wood, carrying water, like it's subsistence, right? It's survival, and there's something that also in doing that allows you to process and heal. And we don't have so much of that these days. So, I mean, I kind of get it from cleaning. Like I'll go on a mad cleaning. That's my way of kind of trying to do that kind of thing. But there's really something to it.
Yeah, for me comes from my pets. Having to
Yeah,
feed
for
them
sure.
and open the door for them to go to the bathroom. And so, yeah, and there is the element of like, oh, I'm so over this. This is so much. But at the
Yeah.
same time, for example, when the COVID hit and we were all in closure, like the post, I can't go out. It's having to get up from my bed was a lifesaver. I would have
Yeah.
gone crazy without them. But I had to feed them and to interact with them. Either way, I think I would still be in bed. Like, so yeah. I love that chopping wood and water.
Sharing water.
But yeah, I think
Yeah.
that the world is moving so fast that we don't. It's the instant gratification thing,
Mhm.
and we need the doing hard things and delay that gratification to feel good.
Yeah. Yeah. There's something to it. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I think a lot is learned through that.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, and it's something you have to experience. You can't learn what there is to learn from it unless you actually have to
yeah.
not get something and wait for it or work towards it and be patient.
Being childless is kind of weird to tell this, but when kids get everything they want, they don't understand how to manage frustration. And then they become teenagers and everything is frustration. And then that
Yeah.
ends up being an adult that don't know how to manage themselves with a no or with hitting a wall. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of childless went through that, unfortunately, that when the no was around being a mom, they collapse.
Yeah, I
It's
relate to that. I feel like I was a spoiled kid. Was kind of given everything that I wanted. And if I cried, it was like, what do we give you to make
oh,
you feel better? So I never really learned how to soothe and self-regulate without getting the thing. And then when I didn't get the biggest thing ever, I certainly think that contributed to how much I spiraled.
I didn't
But
want
who knows? Maybe if I
my
hadn't gotten everything, maybe I'd have been super angry. Sorry, who knows?
I never meant to put you on a spot. I didn't know that. For me, it was the other case. I never got anything.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I cried. I wanted that. I cried, but it's like, yeah, okay, another no.
Yeah.
And it's also frustrating because when you never get anything, it's the opposite extreme. It's like, I want something. Give
Yeah.
me one thing.
Yeah. Well, I imagine then there's also there could be potentially, I don't know if this is true for you, but this question of like, am I worthy or did I do something wrong or why am I like, why,
What is wrong with
especially if you
me?
see others. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Either one sounds like, again, the middle road.
Yeah. I think I have the like when they sound the trumpets and they unroll the I don't know how
Mhm.
it's called in English. The list is like I didn't get that. I didn't get siblings. I didn't all I got was mental health issues.
Yeah.
It's like why?
I know.
You can give me one thing? No, okay. And yeah, I have bad days, but I have a fulfilling life. It's not
Yeah.
for anyone, but I like it.
Yeah.
And I don't grind my happiness, I feel comfort in doing the things I need to smile.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. Love that.
we go back to the magic pill. Most people don't want to do their inner work. They want something
Mhm.
outside of them to, okay, make me happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're fucked. As a species, I mean, you know?
Yeah, Lord. Yeah. I will say, yeah, I just, I think when you said you love your life, I really love my life. Like it's certainly not perfect and there's certainly, some things I would change, but yeah, I really do. I mean, I imagine people would look at it and be like, "Oh my God, not what I want." But I actually really, really love it.
The same thing happened to
Um,
me.
yeah, even with the
Yesterday,
bad days. Yeah.
yesterday I was doing a wheel of life, I think it's called, when you put a score in like health,
Mm,
spirituality, and a lot of people, when they ask us where do we want to, where we want to be, I put 9 in each one, not 10,
mm,
because for me 10 is like, okay, I'm done. I
mm,
don't have anything to look forward. Okay, I'm
yeah.
10. Yeah. And then what? You know? And I thought about that because you said I'm happy with my life. Yeah, there's here and there, and the same thing happened to me. Like
Hmm.
I'm painting another thing for that wall, and it's
Hmm.
taking me a long time.
Hmm.
And I could like stop doing the podcast because I don't have enough paintings, or I can do it
Hmm.
now and move forward. And it's a silly example, but it's painting fuels me, brings me joy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have something to look forward. If everything is perfect, it's like, yeah, well, I don't know what I'm doing here. I have nothing else to learn, to grow,
Yeah.
to, you know,
Yeah.
when you have a plant in a pot and the roots outgrow the pot, that the plant starts
Mhm.
dying. I think that's my analogy. Like, okay, if
Mm,
my 10 is like, okay, I uproot this pot, and yeah, that it's all that is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like, how do I put this? You know how they say like you can't have happiness without sadness? You can't have, like we live in a world of where these push and pulls between these opposites. And I do really find that to be true. Like, I don't know that I would really appreciate the good days as much as I do if I didn't have the really horrible days,
Yeah.
right? Like, and also just like of the ability to find joy in the really simple, mundane things. Um,
Yeah, it's kind of,
yeah, I was just thinking, sorry, I was just earlier today saw somebody passed away. She's sort of like a well-known figure,
yeah, I
and
know.
she's a year older than me. Yeah, and I was just thinking, wow, I feel so lucky to be the age that I am and to still be here,
Yeah.
So and I don't know, like I feel like having had so many years of of struggle just makes me appreciate it even more,
Yeah.
even and through the bad days.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What you were saying before, I can't remember the woman who died, the name. But what we were saying
Mm.
before is what I said about the white furniture. And I remember like this summer, now it's winter in Argentina. This summer there were like 20 or 25 days, sunny days.
Mhm.
And we were begging for rain, not just because of the drought, But because it was like, I can't be this sunny all the time. Because it becomes the normalcy, and then like you flatline, like the
Yeah.
machines.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love a good rainy day. It can go on for too long, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
like permission to just rest and
Yeah.
be.
Watch a movie. Or,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So how do you,
yeah.
sorry, I was just going to ask how you, in this period that's been rough for you, how do you sort of take care of yourself and get through that?
For example, I made my bed. I don't usually make my bed. I don't
Hmm.
like the stiffness of the. I'm weird like that because most people like the perfectly stretched sheets, and I don't feel comfortable like that. I feel comfortable like rolling into my. But I made my bed. I do. Oh, did you hear that thunder? No.
Mm-mm. Do
Um.
you see my earrings? They're like clouds with
Yeah, I
them.
was saying that. Yeah.
It's like my
So
omen for you.
appropriate. I make my bed. I dress up. I wasn't going anywhere because like I'm taking strolls near my house for my agoraphobia, for like getting out. But there was so much rain that I couldn't do that. But I did dress up
Hmm.
because it boosts my like I'm nice. I feel better than just in my sweatpants and an old t-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do little things like that. And I reach out to one of my friends that she especially understood what was happening to me.
Hmm.
So like I do that also. I reach out to people that can understand what I'm going through without me like explaining the whole picture, because explaining the whole picture makes me anxious, like I'm drowning more than I should. you know
Yeah.
so yeah, I talked to her, and she like sent me a few audio notes like, I see you, and that made me cry, and crying is such a powerful thing. Like I wash up every shadow I had.
Hmm.
I ugly cry, not just a few tears.
Oh, I love a good cry. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it allowed me to unstuck myself from that, because
Yeah.
I was feeling bad, but at the same time I wasn't moving forward. I was kind of stuck in the I'm not quite good, but I don't know how to get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that made me like that made me make give me permission to okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do to like reset your feelings or your emotions?
So I think it depends on like what I'm feeling. I know one feeling that often comes up, I describe it as like aloneness. It feels different than loneliness because I'm not necessarily like craving companionship or another person. I could even be around people when this comes up and close people, but it's almost like at a really like almost animal creature level. It's like my whole system is like alone. You are alone. It's like alone in the desert, like far away from anybody, and you're doomed. And it's like this, it feels like a doomed feeling. Like
Yeah.
it's really quite overwhelming. And I will say, like, I think before what used to happen was I get that feeling and it would start a spiral. Like it would be the feeling would come and then it would trigger like a lot, stories and like
That
overwhelming
feeling
emotion.
is the one I have with my anxiety.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 So I think like, I don't know, I've gotten good at just being like, okay, it's here. It's not going to be here forever.
Yeah.
Um, there's a whole bunch of stories it wants me to believe, and I don't need to listen to any of it. And so I've actually gotten really good at just sort of like letting it be here and not needing it to be anything different. And then just learning to be really gentle with myself, like during that time. If it's, there's times where it could be more of like an angrier grief coming up, and then it might be, anger work, it might be dancing, it might just be venting. I love to vent. I will need just, and it's again a space holder. Like I'm not looking for advice
Yeah.
or anything. I just need to get out my, whatever I'm going through. So yeah, I think it depends just on what it is exactly that I'm going through, but yeah, it's actually really just nice to reflect on just all the skills and tools and the self-knowledge that I've grown over the years in order to meet all of the different things that arise. And yeah, I think the big thing is that I don't beat myself up for it anymore, or I don't need it to be any differently. And it's not that, and maybe a part of me wants it to be different, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But there's, another part of me that just like, yeah, this is how it is, you know?
You just said dancing, and I remember I exercise also. Like we had,
Yeah.
I show you Saturday that I got the big yoga Pilates
Yeah.
ball, and I did some things in that ball because contracting the muscles makes you generates a lot of endorphins and another hormones that I don't remember the names, but yeah, that make me like, okay, here
Yeah.
we go.
Yeah.
Because
Exercise is a great one. Yeah.
yeah,
Huge.
because even though I accept I'm feeling sad, I don't let myself drown on it.
Hmm.
Especially with my anxiety that quickly becomes depression too. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm hitting rock bottom here in a normal response, not in a mental health. Okay, I'm not going to get out of here anymore.
Yeah.
And it's such a fine line, and it's not the same point for everyone. So that's
Yeah.
also something I'm proud of, recognizing, well, okay, I'm free falling until here. Then I put the net there because further down, it's a no return point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's again was a process and self-knowledge and reflection and grinding happiness and realizing this doesn't work either. It's not,
Yeah.
again, it's not a magic pill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just thinking, I'm now like running through my head of all the things that I do when in a down state. Yeah, there's just so many good tools out there. Yeah, art is the other one. I'll just say that. Art.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
Yeah,
play.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Movement, creativity, rest. Yeah.
Yeah.
In many different forms. All really good.
I remember some time ago I sent you a drawing that I did that it was a punch in a shutter
Yeah.
something. And that was so healing for me. I was feeling so angry and I didn't even know to what. The other thing is perimenopausal hormones makes you also go through emotion that is like nothing is happening, but I'm feeling this way. And that drawing was like, oh yeah. And I didn't do anything else. Like I didn't yell at anyone or it was just okay, I'm recognizing this anger.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a painting that I did of a jackal.
Yeah.
Um, I became like obsessed with. Like I was going through a period of so much anger, and it was specifically around the childlessness and around, I was so angry at mothers. Like I was just like, I did not want to be around mothers. I did not want to hear about from them. I didn't want to hear about their kids or anything
Yeah.
like that. I got so sick of so many. And so I did a painting of a jackal that was like on the, like about to attack a whole bunch of mothers. And it was so, I will look at it every once and again if that feeling arises where I'm just like, oh yeah, oh yeah, just to give like legitimacy to it and just to like acknowledge and validate it.
Yeah. Validation, it's so important. And that's why I like draw that and hear from my friend, I see you. It's a validation of you are not going
Yeah.
crazy, you are not alone, you're not a bad person. It's just okay. I'm I'm human. And
Yeah.
coming full cycle is what we were talking at the beginning. Like being happy all the time is not sustainable. And there's not enough talking about that. And it doesn't validate the ones that don't feel like that all the time.
Yeah. 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 One thing I just thought of now too is, I feel like there's always like I'm walking sort of this line with, my brother said to me recently, he was talking about something that he had a response to, and he was talking about how he feels like, recognizing that he didn't really have a reactive, overreactive response to something, he could tell how much he was like healing. And I'm like, I love that. And I also want to give myself permission to be human and to not be perfect.
Yeah.
And if I am going to have an overreactive response to something, like how I handle it is one thing. But just the fact that I'm having the response, I don't want to, like, I want to give myself permission to still have the responses because I'm still human. So
Yeah.
I feel like I'm always walking a fine line between, yes, look at how like I've healed because I'm not having that, but yeah, I also, you know,
Yeah.
want to tread lightly.
Yeah. The fact that you don't overreact doesn't mean you are not feeling anything.
Mhm.
It's like the feeling is more matched with the proper response to the environment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's like you used to shut the door so hard that you were unhinged it, and now you make a sound.
Yeah.
It's the outlet, not the
Yeah.
magnitude of the. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah,
It's that space between, okay, I'm having this reaction and then to respond. It's like it's been more about growing that. That's been a bit more of a focus. Yeah.
yeah. There's another word in Spanish, but I don't know how I'm saying in English. But there's action reaction and there's action response.
Mm,
And I think I understand what you're saying. I'm responding more and reacting less.
mhm.
Reacting like gave me an outlet that I burned down every bridge and then was like, oh my God, fuck that. And how do I build these bridges again? Now
Yeah.
responding is like, I'm feeling this way. Okay, say no to the matches. Like, I don't know, hit the
Yeah.
rock, you know,
Yeah.
tone it down a little. But yeah, I used to be really reactive, but I didn't know how to regulate my emotions, how to understand it. So it was like, yeah, I
Yeah.
kill everything around me. And I was like, okay, I'm not feeling safe enough to interact with you, so I'm going to walk away and I'm going to punch a pillow. Or
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that makes me realize how much I've grown and I'm so proud of myself.
Yeah.
Like the 15-year-old me is like, how did you get there?
Yeah. I know. I know 15-year-old me would have been like, this is your worst nightmare. How will you go on living? Now I'm like, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, mine would have like a list like you haven't killed this person and you haven't killed this person yet. What are you waiting for? Yeah. And then no, we can coexist.
Yeah.
Far away, we can coexist. Love, it's been a pleasure doing another episode. I miss having these conversations with you because when we talk about everyday life things, but we don't like go deeper in these
Mhm.
nuances. So yeah,
Yeah, it's nice to be back
yeah.
having this conversation with you too.
Great. See you soon.
Sounds good.
Bye.